everyone, it's Fading Dragon. January was a pretty good inking month for me. I inked 23 pens and ink combination this month. I already recorded the first 2 weeks last time, but I was so busy on the middle of January that I didn't recorded any currently ink. So I will just quickly go through it. I had a new pen, which is the Asvine C80 in glitter blue, which I ink on this day. And then I had Ranisi Nostalgic Honey in my Studyo Dream Shift. And this one is also with a new nib, the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex. And the day, okay, I don't remember the exact day that I inked this. I think some of them I even ink on the same day. I had Tachia Aokuro in my Lamy 2000. I finally made my piece with my Lamy 2000 because it has a pretty small sweet spot that it hard starts if I don't put my nib in the exact angle. But now I know that if I use very wet ink, then that pen is so nice. However, the pen body is way too heavy for me, so I'm still learning to use it. I also had Diamine Inkvent mittens in my Jinhao 80 with Lamy broad nib. This one I inked because I had a Fountain Pen Club meet on Sunday, and the theme for the pen meet was comfy and cozy. So mittens is one of the ink that I counted as comfy and cozy. And then I had Nagasawa Kasa-kasa. Oh wait, I have this ink, so I will tell about it later. And Sailor Unknown Sample, which I will also tell about later. I also already cleaned this one. I had Birmingham Pen Company Lunar Dust, which is a darkish gray in my Mason N7, this little guy here. Now we are on the end of January with this ink pen, which I will tell you right about now. The first pen and ink combination that I have is this journal, this Tiras or Trust, and I fill it inside my Asvine V126 with medium nib. If you haven't seen it yet, I ink the moment where I swatch all my journal these inks that I bought, and that's also where I try to figure out some of the puns that they have with their bottles of inks namings. I ink this ink because at the time when I wanted to ink this, I didn't have enough warmer color ink on my currently ink. So I chose this and it was so great. I love the combination. I also love how this nib behaves. I think on my very first inking with this pen and nib, I filled it with Diamine Inkvent 2025 Bittersweet, which is a lighter green, and I think that ink may be a bit too dry, but with this journal distrust, it feels wetter. I had a great time writing with it, although to be completely honest, I just inked this 2 days ago, so I haven't really written a lot with this combination, but on the times when I picked this up, I enjoyed it immensely. And because of the name Tiras or Trust, of course I want to compare it with Diamine Ancient Copper. To my surprise, or to not my surprise, they are pretty similar. However, the Diamine Ancient Copper has like this shining a bit, while the Journal this Tiras is totally a shading ink without any sheen on it at all. And I'm saying that with such a confidence, but yeah, I cannot really see any sheening on the Journal Tiras. That would be great for autumn. It is also a bit lighter compared to Diamond Ancient Copper. It's like Journal Tiras have this kind of paleness and softness to it that Diamond Ancient Copper does not have. The second pen and ink combination is also from Journal Tis. It's Journal Tis vino. Oh, I should have checked this beforehand, but it's something with let's have wine or something in English. You can tell me what the translation of this ink is. And I feel it inside my TWSBI Diamond 580 with medium nib. This combination is just so great. This Journal Theseus Lavino is more on the burgundy side. It looks dark on the swatch card here, but when I write with this pen, the writing itself is not totally saturated, so I can see some paleness to it, which is a ink property that I love lately. Not vibrant, but rather softer, and this is just so perfect. Whenever I pick this pen and I write with this ink, I smile, and I don't want to stop writing, which is a good indication that I enjoyed this pen and ink combination. And the name itself is just perfect because it's with wine and it is pretty cold lately in here, so even though I don't drink it, the thought of this pen kinda warms me inside whenever I write with this ink. If we look at the comparison, Journal de Slavino is pretty close to Diamine Writer's Blood, although Diamine Writer's Blood is more on the reddish. I don't know how to explain this ink. Anyway, CS Slavino is darker compared to Diamine Writer's Blood, less saturated, it's much browner, and it's pretty close to KWZ Maroon, although again, CS Lavino is calmer in general compared to the rest of the inks that I have here. Alright, the third one is Anderillium Moray Eel Green, and I feel it inside my Sailor 1911 large with broad 21 karat gold nib. I have a lot to say about this pen and ink combination, so bear with me a little bit. So first, the ink. I got this sample from a kind friend, and as far as I know, it's almost impossible to get Anderillium ink unless you are buying it from the US or you bring it from the US. So I'm very grateful that I get to try this ink. And the Iroshizuku Moray Eel Green is more on the swampy yellowish greenish ink, although I find it really strange. Okay, maybe not not at all that strange, is that the name has green in it, although the ink, I count it more as yellow rather than green. But it does have a greenish tint to it, so I guess I can understand why they are named this way. And that's the ink. Oh yeah, and usually I am the kind of person who prefer a warmer tone yellow, so yellow that are leaning more on the reddish side rather than leaning on the greenish side. But I'm finding out that lately, or maybe it's because of the winter weather, I'm quite okay with the greenish leaning yellow. So that's something that I find fascinating. And as for the pen, this is my most newest pen that I have in my collection. It is a second-hand pen from one of my fountain pen club member that I bought, and he had it available in our club by sell trade, which is just a match. And this pen is meant to be for me because when the ad was posted, I was opening my phone, and that is very rare. Ever since I work in my current company, I rarely open my phone on work hours. And so when this pen was posted, I was opening my phone and I guessed my tips. And I wrote it with a tip with TIP, with the P and not with the P. Mistake with English. Anyway, and so I had this reserve, and on the Sunday of the pen meet, I tried this pen. It was advertised as Sailor 1911, so I was already prepared that this pen would be the one with the smaller nib, smaller 14 karat gold nib. I found out later that this one is actually the 21 karat gold nib in broad, and it writes so wonderfully great. I was so surprised. I only had one Sailor gold nib pen so far, the Sailor Pro Gear Imperial Black in medium 21 karat gold nib as well, and I thought for the longest time that that pen would be my only Sailor pen ever in my whole life, especially considering the price increase that is just not possible for me to buy one new. So I was really grateful that I can get this pen, and I love the feedback so much. Oh, and I noticed that this nib it's up ink very fast, so that's also good for my ink situation, that I can dry my inks pretty fast if I write with this pen. So yeah, I am smitten. I fall in love with this pen. If I'm not mistaken, the grip section of this 1911L is a bit larger compared to my Sailor Pro gear, which I love because Sailor Pro gear feels way too small for me. So yeah, I think this pen and I were just a match. And I'm very grateful for that. That's all for my ramble about this new pen. And let's look through the comparison of the Anderillium Moray Eel Green. As you can see here, most of my colors in this range are warmer leaning. So out of this, the closest that I can see maybe is with Birmingham Pen Company Shower Scum and KWZ Old Gold, although Moray Ale Green has a touch of green on it. Alright, fourth one. It's Dominant Industry Fisherman at Sea, and I feel it in my Opus 88 chest with Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex Nib. I only got a tiny sample of this ink, so this would be my only time that I can try this ink inside a pen unless I buy a new full bottle. This Dominant Industry ink is a part of the painter set, and I was quite annoyed at myself for not checking because it's a fisherman with an E and not an A, so I made a mistake on my swatch card. But that's fine, it happens sometimes. It's a pretty green on the yellow leaning color. I thought it would be pretty similar to Dominant Industry Leaf Green, which is my most favorite green ink bottle that I have in my collection. But it's slightly different, which we can look at later. And for this Opus 88 chest, previously I had Matthew John Big Point nib in it. Well, I love the nib. I love how fun it is and how I can make very thick lines when I reverse writing and very thin fine on the regular side. I'm finding myself not really reaching out to ink the pen for some reason. I don't know why, even though the nib is so fun and I just love fun nibs. And so this nib came, which I got thankfully with the help of one of my friends. This nib is my very first flex nib. And as you can see here on the writing, I'm not really a good flex nib writing, so I need to practice it for sure. For the first inking, I put it inside my Studyo ink, which is a cartridge converter pen with Tyranny Nostalgic Honey, which I found out later is a pretty dry ink. So my first inking for this nib was not really the most pleasant experience, if I can say it that way. And so for the second inking, I decided to put the nib inside a eyedropper pen. Combination is so good that I didn't expect it to be that different from my first inking. I'm not really familiar with this ink, so I would assume as well that this ink is also wet. And so I love writing with this combination so much. Leaf green is more yellow leaning compared to Fisherman at Sea. And looking at my old swatch card, Dominant Industry Fisherman at Sea is the closest with Diamine Evergreen, although Diamine Evergreen is a bit paler and it has more sheen, while Dominant Industry Fisherman at Sea is full on the shading and without any sheen at all, at least in my writing sample. And so we have another new one. I have Nagasawa Onomatope Kasa-kasa inside my new pen Platinum Century 3776 with medium 14 karat gold nib. This Nagasawa Kasa-kasa is a part of Onomatope series, which is onomatopoeia in English, if I remember the word correctly. Kasa-kasa specifically is the sound of rustling, like dry rustling thing that you can hear. It reminds me of probably like dry leaves on autumn days, or when the tree branches are going through each other. That's the sound of kasa-kasa. And the color itself is a dark olive green, which I thought I have some inks similar to this, but to my surprise, it's pretty unique of its own. And as for the pen, this is my second newest pen. This pen came just one day before I have my Sailor 1911, and I bought it directly from Amazon Japan. That's my first time ever. I've been putting off getting this pen for the longest time. Maybe because when I tried it in pen mitts before, I felt that the grip section is way too small and I don't like the step down between the body and the grip. It's also a pricey pen. Let's say maybe I got a bit of a FOMO of the nib for the increasing price for the three Japanese gold nib pen, and I already have pilot and sailor gold nib, so I thought my completionist in myself wanted to also have a platinum gold nib. I found this in a pretty good price. I had to pay for shipping like around 23 or 25 euros. Like the total price in the end is still reasonable, and so I got it. The moment this arrived and the moment I inked this pen, I fell in love immediately. The nib is just so wonderful. I'll be honest that I'm not really a fan of the pen body. It feels like plastic body, but the nib, oh, I love it so much. It is hard as nail, but it has the kind of feedback that I enjoyed from my sealer. And I am just in this phase of not really enjoying a gliding nib, but I enjoyed a feedbacking nib more than that. I heard that the plating on the Platinum 3776 may not be the best, so I had already prepared myself that one day the plating may be off or the pen body may have scratches, and that's totally fine by me because the highlight of this pen is the nib, and that's one of the most important part for me for a pen in my collection. So I have here Sailor Security Tokiwa Matsu, which is lighter, and also Troublemaker Hanging Rice is also lighter than Kasa-kasa. Maybe if I can say it like this, Nagasawa Kasa-kasa is like Troublemaker Hanging Rice mixed with a little drop of KWZ Hunter Green. Okay, we are now on our 6th pen and ink combination. I have pilot Iroshizuku Ku-jaku, and I fill it inside my Jinhao 20 in pink with rose gold trim with fine nib. And I'm finding out that it dries for me apparently. Okay, let's see. Do we have more ink left in here? Because it just stops writing. Okay. I might have written this dry, or it just evaporates so much that it's not writing anymore. Let's try this. Otherwise, we need to make do without any writing sample. Oh, yeah. Okay. I've written this right. Pilot Iroshizuku Ku-jaku is the one of the most famous Iroshizuku inks, but throughout my 3-4 years of fountain pens, it's my first time having this ink inside my own pen. I can say that I am very surprised at how great this ink is. I think it goes without any saying that pilot Iroshizuku are generally on the weather side and they have a really pleasant writing experience. It is definitely the case with this Jinhao 20, And Ku-jaku is just beyond my expectations. I really enjoyed every moment that I write with this ink. And also I'm finding out that the Ku-jaku is not really on the vibrant side. It is indeed vibrant, but it has like a matte feeling to it. So it's not really attacking you when you're writing, but it gives like a comfortable feeling when I write with it. I have so many tealish color, but after writing with this ink, I feel like I need to get a small bottle in my collection. So I am heavily considering getting the 15 ml one because this is just so nice. And when I put it inside this pen, I had some ink drip. No, that's not the way to say it. Basically, I don't know what happened, but some of the ink came out of the converter or something, and some of the ink spilled into the seam of this metal part and the body part. And so when I write with it and hold it like this, my fingers have a Ku-jaku imprinting on them. Well, I don't know how it is for you, but usually for me, if I have inky fingers, I can just wash them away by washing my hair and have a shampoo and all that. Specific for Ku-jaku, and I think it's also my first time ever with any of my other inks. It is so persistent. I have to shampoo my hair in 2 different days in order for the inks to come out from my fingers, which makes me curious now how the water resistant is for this particular ink. But whether it is persistent or not, I love this ink so much. It is a teal that leans a lot more to the bluer side compared to the greener side. I'll continue on. 6th pen. It's Diamine Inkvent 2025 Brrr, which is a pigment shimmer ink, and I feel it inside my Jinhao 82 with Faber Castell Loom broad nib. I am quite worried with its staining, so I'm not really brave enough to put this ink on pens outside of my Jinhaos, and that is also totally okay. This ink behaves way better than I thought. It's a blue ink, definitely, and it dries down to a paler color, which I prefer more compared to the color when it was still wet. It has a purplish shimmer on it, and it's just so fun to write with. I think the fact that I put it inside my Loom broad nib also helps because this Loom nib is on the wetter side, and I just having so much fun with this combination. It was very cold in the Netherlands for the past few days, so I thought it would be perfect just to have this ink. Out of the inks in my collection, Diamine Brrr is the closest with color first rainy day, although it's slightly darker. And now we have our very last ink pens. I start to feel that I ramble differently and I stop quite often with my words, so that is the sign that I'm getting tired. I have the wet pen Cove muscles inside my Studyo Agackakan primary manipulation 1 WP2 model with Franklin Christoph medium thick nib, which is my most favorite nib at the moment. I should have checked before what is Penn Cove muscles. Is it an animal? Is it a place? And what does it even look? So I don't know. This ink is just so wonderful. When I first inked it, I didn't have any expectations, and I am also very lucky that I can get a small sample of the wet pen Cove muscles because it is almost impossible to get here in the Netherlands, and a friend kindly gave this sample to me. I've been very curious of the wet pen inks for the longest time because some of the ones that I see have very interesting chroma shading or some complexities in their inks, which I really want to experience. And so for this pen Cove muscles itself, it is a purplish ink that is also on a more grayish side. When you look at it, it will make you think it is is it a purple or is it a gray or is it a purple gray or what is this color? And that is exactly what I have in mind whenever I write with this. The ink and pen combination is also very amazing. It's like I don't want to stop writing with this combination ever. And it's just so nice and complex. Now I can see that the sheening is more also on the brownish side. As for the color comparison, I don't have anything that is close in color, but I can see here that Tasha Auguro is less purple and the Atramantis document dark blue is more bluer than the wet pen Cove Mussel. And that is everything that I have for today's currently in at the end of January 2026. What do you think? Which of these would you like to try yourself? Thank you and see you on the next one. Bye bye!